indicated, you know the Israelis, you talked to them, but I assume you have some influence. What do you do with the Palestinians in terms of their corrupt leadership? How do you bring them to
Which one?
How do you bring the
Okay, so you have connections with the Israelis, people, they know you, you've obviously presented this. The Palestinians, you haven't really talked about. How do you bring Fatah and the Hamas together? What kind of things have to happen for them to come to the party?
There is a kind of a repetitive effort of reconciliation, internal reconciliation between Fatah and Hamas since 2007, since Hamas took over Gaza. All the past agreements, reconciliation agreements, and unity governments, etc., have failed. Egypt has some kind of leverage over Hamas and over Fatah as well. Not enough, but this, I believe, should be one of the focus of any American or international effort, because we cannot sustain prolong a kind of a division between Hamas and Fatah. This is harmful for us, and it is of course harmful for them. People talk about the three-state solution right now. One state in Gaza, one state in the West Bank, and one state Israel. Okay, I don't accept that. I don't accept it, and I believe that the fact of the matter is that Israel is currently, the right-wing government of Israel is currently negotiating with Hamas. And not for the first time, by the way. I had the privilege to represent family of Gilead Sher in the last 2 years of his captivity, and in all vis-a-vis the American Congress, vis-a-vis the Supreme Court in Israel, etc. And I know for a fact that there were direct negotiations between Israel and Hamas, same government, not the same government, but the same Prime Minister, Netanyahu, who has always ventured not to talk to terrorists. Well, he does. And I believe that this is harmful to any progress, the schism. So I would invest a lot in producing a unified Palestinian representation with carrot and sticks. We don't have to get into the details here, but I believe that this is something that Trump knows, carrot and stick. But we need the carrot as well, not just the stick. Well,
first, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Secondly, we have a succession struggle going on now in the Palestinian Authority. Are there any steps Israel should take now, or should it wait until it sorts itself out and then move for some sort of reconciliation between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority? I quite agree. I mean, even if Abbas were to make an offer for peace, which I don't think he's strong enough to do, anything he does will be shut down by Hamas. So you've got to bring the two sides together. The question is, how do you do it? Is Egypt enough? What role can the United States play here? I mean, this, I think, is a critical issue.
I don't think that Israelis or Americans or Egyptians have any influence on the succession issue. This is an internal Palestinian problem, which, by the way, is quite acute, because there's three scenarios. First one is total chaos. Second one is chronic instability. And the third one is some arrangement, okay? And I think that the vast majority of the analysts see something in between the second and the third scenario evolve, which means that either all the powers that Abbas holds right now, or all the hats that he wears, you know, the head of the Palestinian Authority, and the head of Fatah, and the head of PLO, and whatever. I mean, politically he's very, very strong, but publicly is in the lowest, very lowest ratio of any popularity or support. So maybe there will be a division of powers between 3 or 4 Palestinian officials, such as Jibril Rajoub and Majid Faraj, and perhaps Saib Erekat, talking about one or more Palestinian officials currently. Hamas will not take over. This is not a scenario that is anyone within anyone's analysis, to the best of my understanding. One thing is for sure, that the succession will not provide us with a Swedish diplomat. We will not have someone more moderate than Abbas, with all with all Abbas's deficiencies that are, you know, and imperfections. Abbas is someone who cannot take a decision, could never take a decision. Let's start with the Begin Abu Mazen plan in 1995 that he retracted from immediately once published. It was a permanent status agreement, okay? Unofficial, but it was there. And then in Camp David, it was the most, in 2000, it was the most dogmatic and hardliner in the camp, on very close to the ear of Arafat. And then, of course, in the Annapolis process, when we talked about it earlier, when Ehud Olmert presented him with a package deal, after 34 tete-a-tete meetings, and he showed him, look, this is the agreement. You get nothing more ever from any Israeli leader. And he said, I'll get back to you. We're still waiting. And of course, the 2013 and 2014, which blew up much before the end of the expected end of the talks, and resorted to internationalization of the conflict and a large campaign, international campaign, legal, media, diplomatic, whatever, anything to delegitimize and even demonize Israel within the international arena. Nevertheless, this is the only Palestinian who spoke openly in Arabic and said, we will not achieve our political objectives throughout terrorism. This is not, it's not easy for anyone. Arafat never did that. So I don't know what will happen. Who can influence the politics within the Palestinian camp? I believe that there's some Arab actors that could do it. I talked about the Arab Quartet. You know, this is why I'm not very much for just an exclusive track of